Hello everyone, welcome back to YK Reviews. As we take a break from the horror movie month of October, I went to go out and see Amsterdam. So let's get into it here. So with Amsterdam, it basically follows three people who witness a murder and become suspects. So they have to go and find out what happened and eventually go and uncover the most outrageous plot in America. And that's basically what the synopsis is. It's based on a true story set in the 1930s, and it's a really star-studded movie. A lot of like celebrity actors and actresses, a lot of cameos in this. So after watching the trailer and like seeing a few clips here and there, I was genuinely excited to see this movie. It looked like a very, very interesting movie based on a true story itself. I really like these murder type mysteries, who done it, unraveling like the actual like plot in itself and seeing what happened. And especially when like somebody's getting blamed for it, you really like see that premise and you could tell that this could be like a really, really potentially great movie. But honestly, this movie was a huge, huge letdown for me. So this is going to be a non-spoiler review, so if you haven't seen this movie, don't worry, nothing's going to be spoiled in this review in itself. But I feel like if you've seen the trailer, all the best bits from the movie was revealed in the trailer. I feel like everything else was very, very subpar. Because as I mentioned, in terms of the plot itself, they witness a murder, they see somebody getting murdered firsthand, and so then this kerfuffle happens and they get blamed for the actual murder itself. So this premise looks so good and so interesting. I just feel like they've dragged out the plot because the movie has a few flashbacks and a few scenes in present day, but there wasn't enough of like the actual investigation and what they're doing. It was a lot of like sort of them interviewing people or them just having conversations and that kind of stuff. Like it follows the three main leads. You've got Christian Bale, you've got Margot Robbie, and you've got John David Washington, and them as a trio. And them as a trio, I feel like was the best part of the movie. Like their interactions and their chemistry with one another, their backstory. I really enjoyed that. But the problem is for me, is that it focuses so heavy on their backstory and their flashbacks and all of that kind of stuff, and just them having casual conversations with one another and like focusing on a lot of like what they want to do in the future and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't focus on them doing the actual investigation, finding out what's going on. A lot of dilly-dallying throughout the movie, basically. And what I found very strange too is that the dialogue, the editing, the scenes that would take place throughout the movie, like you're witnessing one thing and then just out of nowhere there's like somebody just, for example, Christian Bale's character is having a conversation, then literally the next scene and the next dialogue is somebody just singing out of nowhere. Another part too is like towards the third act, and I won't give out like what actually happens or anything like that, but there's this big reveal, there's this big like action scene that happens, and literally the next scene that takes place after that is just like this one side of the room singing, the other side of the room yelling, and then just a fight breaks out, and then the next scene is just somebody getting like arrested and that kind of stuff. Like it was just a very, very strange editing in the movie. It just felt like somebody was editing the video and like didn't go back and check their work or something like that, because it was very, very strange. There was even a particular scene, like the police officers in there. You have one officer who's like the serious one, the other officer who's sort of like the young rookie who just smashes things in the house by accident, or just like throwing these one-liners, and then they are like interrogating Christian Bale's character, but then the next dialogue, the next scene is they're talking about a teapot, and I didn't understand that. I didn't understand the logic behind that. The editing in the movie, is the dialogue in the movie, it felt very off. And the police officers too were just so laid back, and I know that it's in the 1930s, but they were laid back. They just didn't focus on like the actual crime or anything like that. They were just having casual conversations, talking about like medicine, talking about like the main lead, the main detective basically is got issues with his back, and he's just having a conversation with Christian Bale character about that, rather than like asking where were you last night, what happened, this kind of stuff, like as you would do if you were a detective and you are questioning a potential suspect. But that was just like the theme throughout the whole movie. You're having one scene, then the next scene is just a random scene that has no bearing towards actual plot, and it's just randomly thrown in there, and it was really off-putting, and it was very frustrating to watch. And the runtime of the movie, it's a 2-hour 15-minute roughly movie, but it was very, very long. It was dragged out. I was getting really antsy in my seat. I was getting frustrated, moving around a lot, waiting for the movie to be over. My wife too was just getting really frustrated and wanting the movie to be over. There was even one, you can tell there was a lot of frustration in my movie theater with people like just wanting the movie to be over. I felt like there was even like a group of people in the actual theater. Like one of the friends took out his phone and went on Snapchat and started taking selfies and pictures because one of his friends was in a deep sleep in the movie. The fact that there was somebody in a deep sleep and had to have a flash on him after the picture to wake him up just goes to show the kind of like the movie itself. It was very bland. A lot of like frustrations, like a lot of people getting antsy. My wife too, when she was like watching the movie, just kept looking over to me, like checking her phone, checking the time, because it just felt like that type of movie. However, what I will say is that, as I mentioned, it was like a star-studded movie. You had a lot of like cameos, a lot of people. You got like Taylor Swift in there. You had Robert De Niro. You had Rami Malek. You have Zoe Saldana. You got Mike Myers, along with so many other different cast and like actors and actresses on there. And some of them were okay. Like Taylor Swift was there briefly. Chris Rock was in there, and his lines were very funny and entertaining. Mike Myers was decent. He was okay. But the standouts for me, like I really liked Zoe Saldana's appearance in there. Like some of her lines, she was talking about love with Christian Bale, mentioning some dialogue in there which was very, very nice and really heartwarming to like watch. But then the two main standouts for me was Rami Malek's character and Robert De Niro's character. Like their appearances in the movie were so brilliantly done. Rami Malek is a fantastic actor. I love his work in so many of his movies and his shows. He is an amazing actor, and he really did a fantastic job in this movie. Despite what was given to him in the movie, despite the plot in itself, he really outperformed in this movie. And along with Robert De Niro, he did a fantastic job. His like one-liners, his speeches, his just overall presence really elevated the movie. And that's what I really liked in terms of this movie, is that you have such a great cast with like Christian Bale playing off Robert De Niro. You've got Margot Robbie playing off of Rami Malek's character. You got John David Washington playing off everybody as well. So their chemistries and like some of the scenes that they had were really well executed, but it just felt like everything else was just very flat. And then when it comes to like the third act, the big reveal, the big payoff, I honestly had no facial expressions when they did the reveal, when they did the third act, because it just felt flat. It was thrown at you, and even after the reveal, like you don't see anything like happen after that. It kind of just like somebody has like a little vision in their head of like what they wanted to do, people standing around having a conversation, so like nothing really impactful or important happened after that reveal. And it kind of was just like a throwaway. And even like after that big reveal, after like that ending, like you see what the characters are up to afterwards, the editing, as I mentioned before, was very weirdly edited at the end. There's like one scene of certain characters together, and then literally the next edit is like a character's like not there, or they were having like a vision or something like that. So it was very, very off-putting, and it just felt like a huge letdown. I had such high expectations. I was really looking forward to this movie, but then after all of that, I just felt very frustrated and very disappointed with the movie in itself. And I feel like a lot of people were feeling that way in my theaters, and like I've seen a couple of people online also mentioning the disappointment. So what could have been such a great premise and such a great plot had such a bad payoff. So for me, I honestly wouldn't recommend this movie. If you do want to watch this movie, maybe wait till it's on streaming or wait till it's online, but I just feel like it's not worth the watch, honestly. Like, as I mentioned, the trailer gave away the best parts of the movie. Everything else outside of the trailer is very bland and kind of a letdown for me. If you have seen the movie though, let me know down in the comment section below what you thought about it. Did you enjoy it? If you did, let me know like what you thought about the movie, what you enjoyed the most about it. And if you have seen the movie and you were disappointed, let me know too in the comment section below. And also, if you haven't already, I have a Twitter, link is in the description down below. Go ahead and follow me on there so you get all the latest information and updates on the and also don't forget, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future videos. There is a playlist of all the Chucky movies that I've done with Child's Play 2019 coming up in a couple of days here, so playlist will be somewhere around the video here that you can be able to click on. And also keep an eye out on the channel for the month of October. We've got the Halloween movie reviews coming up and so much more, so definitely keep an eye out on the channel and subscribe so that you don't miss out on the video. But thank you so much for watching and thank you so much for listening. This is YK Reviews. Peace.